Brad Pitt and Ines de Ramon's marriage plans have been revealed at the most tragic moment of Brad Pitt's life, just as he bid farewell to his mother, Jolie-Pitt. Yet what astonishes the public is not merely the mingling of joy with grief, but the deep sense of contradiction it stirs. Is this truly a decision born of pure love, or is it simply the result of unbearable loss, pushing Brad Pitt to cling to the closest emotional anchor he can find? Even more striking is the fact that at 61, Brad Pitt is no longer the reckless youth he once was, but an icon who has weathered several high-profile marriages, had every crack in his private life exposed to the public, and remains entangled in a fierce legal battle with Angelina Jolie. So why, at this moment, has Brad Pitt chosen to enter into a new commitment, when the shadows of his past have yet to fade? If reports that Brad Pitt and Ines de Ramon are preparing to marry are true, then this is not only a romantic piece of news but also a disheartening shock for those who still hold hope that Brad Pitt might reconcile with his children. In the public's eyes, the Pitt-Jolie family was never just a Hollywood home, but a symbol of the union between love, fame, and responsibility. When that symbol shattered, what people longed for was not only for Brad Pitt to find new love, but for him to strive to restore fatherhood, stained as it has been by lawsuits and heavy accusations. Now, however, Brad Pitt's public devotion to another woman, and even his preparation for marriage, seems to send the opposite message, that he has chosen a new path, a new home, instead of continuing the fight to repair ties with the 6 children he shares with Angelina Jolie. The cruel truth is that once Brad Pitt steps into a new marriage, the possibility of reconciling with his children drops to nearly zero. For children who have grown up amid conflict and leaned firmly toward their mother, the presence of Ines can only feel like a declaration that their father has given up. This is precisely why the public feels such regret. For if Brad Pitt had focused more on mending his family, soothing the distance, and rebuilding trust with his children, his image could have been restored more powerfully than by any award or film. Yet instead of walking that arduous road, he has chosen a gentler detour, turning to a younger, gentle woman with less pressure as a means of self-healing. On a personal level, this choice is understandable. But on the level of symbolism, it is profoundly disappointing. Brad Pitt, once regarded as Hollywood's dream father, now risks forever losing the chance to truly be a father in the eyes of his own children. That regret feels even sharper when considering the timing. Brad Pitt and Jolie's children are now grown, old enough to form lasting memories and opinions of their parents. Some, like Shiloh or Vivienne, were once seen as potential bridges, carrying many of Brad Pitt's features and at times appearing close to him. But now, with Brad Pitt choosing to build happiness with another woman, the children's sense of abandonment can only deepen. For the public, this marks a double loss: the disappearance of the once-admired Golden family, and the loss of hope for reconciliation. A reconciliation that could have given the Brad Pitt-Angelina Jolie saga a far more human and redemptive ending. Ines de Ramon, the low-profile jewelry designer, has suddenly become the center of attention. She does not appear merely as a girlfriend, but as a new member of the Pitt family, reaching out and sharing with them after the passing of Jane Pitt. That very act makes the public wonder, is Ines holding the key to a door that even Angelina Jolie, after years of intimacy, left riddled with deep cracks? Or is this simply a carefully chosen refuge born out of healing, with Brad Pitt too lonely and in need of arms warm enough to fill the vast void within his fractured family? This situation places Brad Pitt in a perplexing light. Once considered Hollywood's golden standard of masculinity, he now finds the public debating whether his marriage decision is proof of maturity or a sign of a heart too fragile in the face of trial. With the echoes of his custody battle with Jolie still unresolved, choosing to wed Ines serves as both a declaration that Brad Pitt has moved on from the past and a spark for suspicion. Is this truly a new chapter, or merely a desperate attempt to escape the shadow of his old family? To speak of Brad Pitt today is to inevitably invoke Angelina Jolie, the woman who once helped him create one of Hollywood's most beautiful and later most tragic symbols. When Pitt and Jolie came together, they ignited frenzy, not only because of their flawless looks and personal magnetism, but also because of the image of a quote, global family with 6 children, both biological and adopted from different countries. At that time, the public believed this was the, quote, ideal family model, where love, fame, power, and humanitarian responsibility converged. Yet the fracture came swiftly and violently. In 2016, Jolie filed for divorce, opening a legal war that is dragged on with no end in sight. At its core was not only custody, but allegations of violence on a plane, claims that Jolie said Pitt directed toward the children. Though Pitt has always denied the accusations and the law has never delivered a final guilty verdict against him, the suspicions became a dark stain, shadowing him for years. From a beloved, powerful star, he fell into a position of scrutiny and doubt, a plunge from the summit of acclaim into the depths of public mistrust. During those years, Brad Pitt's image seemed trapped between two extremes. On one side, an exceptional actor who won an Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. On the other, a father kept at a distance from his children, caught in court hearings and public disclosures from Jolie's side. Most emblematic was the drawn-out dispute over the Miraval wine estate, once the very symbol of their love, turned into the clearest proof of a battle with no truce. Jolie sold her stake to a third party, while Pitt sued to maintain control, revealing fierce conflict not only in love but in finances. Within that context, his decision to marry Ines de Ramon has drawn even sharper attention. People ask, has Brad Pitt truly moved on from Angelina Jolie, or is he striving to prove to the world and to himself that he is stable enough to begin a new family? On the surface, Ines might look like just another romance. But in the larger picture, her presence feels like an effort to rebuild the family image, to patch over the void Jolie left after their stormy breakup. The problem is that Jolie's shadow has not disappeared. The 6 children, Maddox, Pax, Zahara, Shiloh, Knox, and Vivienne, remain an unbreakable bond. And it is precisely through these children that the divide becomes stark. Some openly side with their mother, while others keep their distance from Brad Pitt. This ensures that any new relationship Pitt enters cannot stand alone, but will always be compared, always scrutinized in the light of Jolie's lingering presence. Thus, Ines de Ramon does not simply appear as a girlfriend, but as a challenge. Can she step into a household already in ruins, where the echoes of disputes and the children's coldness persist? No one can answer this with certainty. But it is precisely this question that elevates the news of Brad Pitt and Ines de Ramon's marriage beyond a mere love story. It becomes a test. Can a man once deeply wounded and publicly doubted truly forge a new family model? And if so, can that model withstand the legacy of scars left behind by Angelina Jolie? If Angelina Jolie once entered Brad Pitt's life like a storm, brilliant, fierce, magnetic, and leaving behind indelible wreckage, then Ines de Ramon has appeared like a calming breeze. She is not a famous star, has no cinematic legacy to measure against, and does not seek the spotlight of the media. Before being linked to Brad Pitt, Ines was known mainly within the world of high-end jewelry design, and for her brief marriage to actor Paul Wesley. Gentle, discreet, and unassuming, these very qualities make Ines the complete opposite of Angelina Jolie. In the public eye, Jolie embodies a strong, almost uncompromising feminism. An international star, a humanitarian, a mother of many children, and a formidable adversary in legal battles. Jolie is captivating, but also overwhelming, and it was that very intensity that saw her marriage with Brad Pitt collapse in flames. In contrast, Ines has not stepped into Brad Pitt's life as a central figure under the spotlight. She remains in the background, yet she has been present at his most private moments. When he lost his mother, when he was forced to face his family struggles, and when he longed for a gentleness untainted by conflict. What stands out about Ines de Ramon is the way she quickly built a bond with Brad Pitt's family. According to reports, she reached out, shared, and comforted, not only directing her care toward Brad Pitt, but extending it to his relatives as well. This is a significant detail, for it shows that Ines does not walk the same path as Jolie, who once had a fraught relationship with the Pitt family. With Ines, connection does not begin from power or glamour, but from sincerity expressed in simple gestures. And it is precisely this sincerity that has allowed her to be embraced as part of the home Brad Pitt is now trying to rebuild. If Jolie once turned the Pitt-Jolie family into a global project, with 6 children from different cultures, a humanitarian message staged before the world, then Ines has brought Brad Pitt back to a simpler, more intimate vision of family, a place where people lean on each other through loss, share pain, and face emptiness together. In many ways, Jolie represents the era in which Brad Pitt lived under the brightest stage lights, while Ines symbolizes his longing to live in softer shadows, quiet, unpublicized, and needing no validation from the outside world. It is this very contrast that gives the Brad Pitt-Ines de Ramon relationship its symbolic weight. Ines is not just a girlfriend. not simply the new woman replacing Jolie, but the embodiment of a deeper need, the need for healing. The death of Brad Pitt's mother exposed an emotional void he could not fill alone. Ines stepped into that void, not to replace Jolie, but to offer Brad Pitt a chance to begin again, this time not with a storm but with serenity. Of course, this also raises a pressing question. Is healing enough to sustain a lasting marriage? Or has Ines been elevated into a symbol only because she appeared at the very moment Brad Pitt was most vulnerable? This is the greatest uncertainty in the public's mind, and the greatest challenge Ines herself must face. Yet whatever the answer may be, one fact is undeniable. Ines has become the necessary counterpoint to Jolie, a symbol of gentleness placed alongside a symbol of intensity, mirroring Brad Pitt's journey to reclaim himself after years of fracture.